Thank you, Abraham.
Thank you.
Nina, thanks Monica, thanks all the folks who have been working hard to put together Detroit Startup Week. We really appreciate you. This is our third panel, or my third panel of the week. But no offense to the others, it's my favorite. I'm excited tonight to really just tee this up and then really get out of the way. So for everyone who hasn't had the chance to get familiar yet, In Good Co Detroit is a storytelling campaign that inspires Detroit entrepreneurs and connects them to resources. The stories are of Detroit entrepreneurs, and I'm even with the intro to that, I'm gonna let Shannon and Serena really describe it. They're the amazing storytellers. After a little bit of groundwork that myself and some of the other In Good Co team have done, they've really done the work of bringing these stories to life. And obviously the entrepreneurs do the work every day. So I'm gonna be here fielding the question in the chat. I encourage you all to submit plenty of questions, give plenty of content. I'll make sure we get to it all. Shannon and Serena will lead the conversation. And so Shannon, I'm gonna turn it over to you to lead introductions. And Nyasia, one quick tip, and maybe Abraham, you can help her. If you can change your name to your name, right now it lists my name, but he can help you change your name if you need to. Maybe Abraham, you can message her, help get that done. But with that, Shannon, I'm gonna kick it over to you, brother.
Thank you, James. Thank you, I appreciate it. As James said, In Good Company, Detroit is a storytelling platform, a storytelling campaign where we're telling Detroit's entrepreneur stories. We're talking to people who may have just gotten an idea for a business and don't know where to start. We have resources for that. And also people who've been in business for generations. We talk to entrepreneurs who come from that background as well. So it's run from both ends of that spectrum. Today, I'm happy to have some entrepreneurs that we covered already in Good Company. We have Nieves Longordo of Diseños Ornamental Iron. We have Clement Fame, I call him Fame Brown from 313, and also Nyasia Bay from Ancient WisdomBirth Services, which is a very unique business as well. I'm hearing a little bit of a echo, but okay, it's gone now. This is what I want to do. I want to jump right into conversation because we could spend a lot of time doing introductions, and I think people want to hear from the entrepreneurs. So a big part of the campaign is stories, and I'm interested in two things. This is since we're talking about survive and thrive, I kind of want to break it up into that way. So we talk about survive, and then we can talk about the thrive portion, because that's the title of the session. 2020, monumental time. This time is like no other that I've been through, and I talked to my dad, and he's almost 80. Nothing he's been through either. If you want to start a decade with a memorable year, this is how you do it, you know. And we're just halfway through it. So talk to me, because everyone has this story. Talk to me about the start of the year, like January, February, and when March came. Take about 2 or 3 minutes to share what immediately happened with your business. And let's do a roundtable with this. Let's start. Nieves, tell us what January, February, you had your plans for this year. Then March came. What was the immediate happenings during that time?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to be here with everybody. It's really a humbling opportunity for me. You know, I had big plans, 2020. You know, it was going to be the year that we made some pretty interesting moves. And our sales were up the start of the year. We started off in a really good position cash flow wise. So we were really excited about acquiring the building where we're at, or investing in some real estate so we could expand our manufacturing capacity. And then COVID came, right? And it just kind of made everybody unstable, or just you were not expecting anything like this could ever happen, right? It was just surreal to know that everything was shutting down. The seriousness of it was just really quickly unveiling. So I think from every storm there comes a rainbow, right? And there's something to learn from everything. And so it really gave me an opportunity to take a step back and kind of see how productive our company was really at the time. And we did have to do a lot of cuts, but we came up with new opportunities. And after some serious thought, I realized that we didn't have to put away all those big plans that we had for 2020. It was just going to be at a slower pace at a different time. But
okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. What about you? What immediately happened for you, Nyasia? You started this year. Everybody had their plans, but then March came. What was that? Tell me about that time frame.
Well, I was so hopeful at the beginning of the new year. My plan was to have a doula program implemented at Henry Ford Hospital. And when COVID happened, it was chaotic, I guess is the best way to describe it. The hospital was pretty much shut down. There were women delivering with nobody in the room with them, and especially nobody in the operating room with them if they were having a cesarean. So there were no, you only got one support person. And so pregnant women were choosing, their partners. They weren't choosing a doula.
I'll jump in for a second too. Your business, to share about your business too. Your business is a doula business. You work as a doula for families that's expecting. So your perspective is very interesting. So go ahead, go from there. I'm sorry I didn't tell everybody what everybody does.
Well, my name is Nyasia. I'm the owner of Ancient WisdomBirth Services. I provide professional labor assistance and lactation assistance to families in Metro Detroit. So as I was saying, when the hospitals start restricting non-essential people, basically doulas couldn't work. And so I had to pivot by making all my support virtual and over the phone, which was weird for me because I'm a hands-on person. I provide labor support, so I'm used to massaging and using the ball and all types of things. And then I had to do it over the phone. So it's just weird.
Yeah. What about you, Fame? We're gonna all go to mute. Tell us about that time frame when it first jumped off.
When it first jumped off, early March. So 3/13 is our grand opening day. It's our Detroit day. It's our celebration at the store. We have a huge sales day for us on March the 13th, 3/13. And so I can remember on that day, the conversations around COVID were increasingly, they were just heightened. And so I can remember that day, we had a lot of people in the store. We had 100 transactions easy that day. And we had masks on, we had hand sanitizer. And I can remember people had stopped shaking hands at that point. People were like kind of giving, the shoulder thing. And, but businesses were still open. And it's ironic because, I work with an artist. I have another company where we do artist management and production and so forth. And my artist, G Mac Cash, good friend of mine, he made a hit record about the coronavirus. Like he made a song, it went viral. That day we actually inked a distribution deal with a major label for the song, and things seemed to be as if they, you know, the looming thought was there. But for me, just growing up, you know, I've always had challenges. I've always had to face adversity. And for me, it was just another thing that we would have to deal with, and something that I wasn't going to allow to sit me down. And that's how I was approaching it in the beginning. And then the businesses shut down. We weren't able to open. And then I lost a very close associate, friend of mine, man. Rest in peace to Marlo Stoudemire. And I think at that moment, I realized the seriousness of the situation, the gravity of it all. And I sat down, man. Even now, I'm thinking about it. It's painful, man. It's painful to think about.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And I talked to a lot of entrepreneurs, and a lot of people talked about Mr. Stoudemire. I met him once at a Knight Foundation event, and I could see he was a powerful, impactful person in Detroit. So rest in peace to him. One of the things that we heard in your stories was a lot of pivots, and we always heard that fame. I mean, from when unfortunate circumstances would happen, COVID-19, it pivots into a viral, millions of views opportunity with one of the artists that you work with. So that's just amazing. Any additions, Serena? I don't want to monopolize all the questions here.
No. I'm one of the storytellers with In Good Company. I do the writing side, and so I've had a chance to interview all of you. Actually, Nyasia, we spoke. You were the last person I saw in person. I mean, you know, in terms of interview, and that was at WDT at the radio station. We were just finishing up with the podcast interview, and so. Right. And so we're talking about, you know, the moment, you know, the couple months before the pandemic hit and the reality of the crisis came into our purview. I'm really curious, as things are starting to reopen and we have new rules, we have new restrictions, we've had to, you know, as Nieves said, like, you really had to pause and take a look back. So now we're kind of getting to a point where people are starting to re-engage again. And so what does that look like for everybody? If we could go around in the little tiles here. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sure. Okay. So, you know, I think my situation is a little different. We design, fabricate, powder coat, and install custom metalwork in Southwest Detroit. And our installations are in the Detroit metro area. We're pretty much a construction-related sector, and so we had jobs that were considered essential, so we were able to stay open through the whole COVID shutdown. And however, a lot of our job sites were closed, so we pretty much were at about less than 40% capacity. So I had to lay off a lot of employees. You know, I helped everybody as much as I could setting up their unemployment and just trying to give them resources that were coming to me for them to, you know, have seek other information during these tough times for everybody's families and health. And so what we did early on is I kind of held on to all those resources that I became familiar through In Good Company, and I was listening to webinars and in a safe manner. And so we were very proactive very early on. And I think that's what's made a big difference for us. Like I said, we looked into ways to get PPE for our employees. We couldn't do installations for over 2 months, but we were still able to fabricate and do repairs, emergency repairs. And one thing that, like I said, really helped was having a plan. So we came up with a procedure for installation, a procedure for the shop. Our office was completely closed. We're still actually not full-time at our office. We're just kind of taking one step at a time. We've managed to have 0 COVID cases within our family and our employees and their families. So it's really, I mean, I can't ask for anything else. We just want to make sure that everybody's safe and healthy, and that our families are as well, to have some peace of mind.
Great, thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. How about you, Nyasia? What, and your situation is just really, it's really interesting. In addition to the business that you run, working with expectant mothers and their families, you also work in a hospital setting, you know, as your other job. And so, you know, what does, it's hard to say that this is a new reality, because we honestly still don't know what's going to happen next week or next month. But what is the new kind of normal for you now?
The new normal. Since COVID has started, or I work with COVID patients every day in a hospital. So that's the normal. It started off as one room for a COVID patient, and then it just kept going throughout. So there's like COVID, at least 1 or 2 COVID patients per day. You just prepare with PPE. That's the normal. I'm working in a hospital with patients who may have had TB or other different diseases. We just would wear PPE. So it's like you just wear PPE. There's more, you use more hand sanitizer. They created a new process for putting on PPE and taking it off in the hospital. As far as home births or doula clients going into someone's homes, it's pretty much it's gone to virtual visits. And when you need to go see someone, then you're bringing your own PPE, making sure you're washing hands. Yeah, so just more PPE and less contact, physical contact, more Zoom. It's weird doing lactation support over Zoom when you're used to putting your hands on breasts. Just getting better at communicating without actually physically touching.
That's the thing. I think we've all learned new vocabulary, definitely. And we might never, you know, you are in a hospital setting, so there are situations where you might need to wear PPE or gloves or you know, things along that line. So, but yeah, it's definitely an adjustment, and now we're getting to a point where folks are starting to get more relaxed with that. So we'll have to see where that goes.
Don't do it. Keep wearing your mask.
You on the front line. Don't do it. I hear that.
Wearing your mask. Don't do it. It is important. It is real. Ironically, though, hospital employees are not testing positive for the antibodies for COVID. We just automatically assume that the majority of us have been exposed, and that's not the case. It's been, so yeah. So PPE works.
Mm-hmm.
It works. 6 feet works.
Yeah, I agree.
And washing is golden.
Good. Well, I'm glad that you're staying healthy and you know, just trying to stay positive during these times. What about you, Clement? You know, you are kind of a wizard at social media and promoting your brand all the time, like anyway. And I think like you said, you've always had kind of that mentality of having dealt with different situations. Did we lose you there, Fame?
No, not at all.
Oh, there you go. Adjustment. And so, like you said, you're the hustle, the grind of sink or swim. What is it like now? What are sales like? I mean, I'm sure people are coming back to the store little by little. But I wonder, myself, I've done a lot of online shopping, especially with some of my favorite local shops. You know, people will, like yourself, you actually dropped off a T-shirt to my front door. So maybe you could talk a little bit more about that and what it's been like to interact with your customers in a different way.
Okay, yeah, and thanks again, Serena. It was good to see you that day, right? It was good to see you that day.
Through the door.
You know, when I started off selling clothes, that's how I didn't have a brick and mortar, right? I didn't have a website, right? The internet wasn't even hadn't been invented yet, and so for me, it's organic to me to do interpersonal sales. That is how I was trained since a kid in sales and in merchandising. So when I finally was able to get my marbles about myself, and in a sense, after losing Marlo, and I was kind of able to pick myself back up to a place where I decided that I needed to keep working. Since we couldn't open, it was obviously we had to do everything online. And I got to thinking, we have an average number that we want to do at the store for sales every day, And so we're open typically from 11 to 8 o'clock. And so I told myself from 11 to 8 o'clock, I have to make as many sales online that I would have done in my store. And so I committed myself to working as if I was in the store online during those hours. And so it took some time. Initially, sales weren't there, but I'm an insomniac, to be honest. I'm an insomniac, and I'm a workaholic, and I'm proud of neither of those attributes. But I was stressing a lot, and it was hard for me to sleep. And so my business is my life in a sense. It's what I think about all the time. It's what I talk about. It's what I'm doing. It's what I've been doing since a kid. And it's not that much of a disconnect or a separation between, what I love to do and me working. And so I found myself, because I couldn't sleep, just online, reaching out, like interacting with people online. And what I discovered was that a lot of people are just waking up when it's time for, you think it's time for you to go to sleep. A lot of people are just waking up. And so the sales cycle, I realized very quickly that I could have a extra sales cycle, and that I shouldn't be just focused on selling from 11 to 8 during business hours, but now I need to focus on selling from 8 at least to midnight. And so I started there. I gave myself another 4-hour overtime type of day. And I had a goal that I set for those 4 hours. And then that kind of grew into me, before I go to sleep, setting up a series of posts to make so that when I wake up, I could possibly wake up to some sales as well. And so, I found myself just not sleeping and selling things and until I got burnt out, right? Until it caught up to me. And so, the new norm is not, for me, it's my life has always been kind of, hectic, kind of like, something always happening. It's always motion and movement, always uncertainty and things out of your control that you're still kind of moving around and negotiating, navigating. And so for me, when it came to that, nothing's been different. The only difference is I've been given a pass, if you can say, a pass by, the world to slow down. It's okay for me to slow down now. It's okay for me to take a break now. It's okay for me to have reduced store hours. Like we were open from 12 to 6, whereas before that was unheard of, right? You need to figure out how you can, go 24 hours a day nonstop. And so the only thing that's new to me is people having a little bit more patience with me in regards to, working.
That's good. That's really important. All of us to remember as small business owners to remember that we need to rest. We can't do it all. So thank you for that. I think sometimes we have to give ourselves permission to kind of take a rest and say, it's going to be okay. We'll get through it.
But I will say, everyone couldn't sleep. My sleep patterns are the craziest. I probably bought some of Fame's merchandise at 4 a.m. at some point, All of us couldn't sleep. So thank you for your hard work and get some rest. You don't have to do the 313-day marathon of opening. Because I know you'll do it. What James, you got some stuff to throw in here?
Yeah, I'm doing my best at sitting on my mouth so I don't take over right now.
I already know you.
Have this great conversation. I guess I'll kind of go one by one really quickly, unless anybody else pops up with any questions. Nieves, I look at each of these stories for me, each of these entrepreneurs. When we started this campaign, each of you were on my list of folks to bring into this campaign. And so to have us all sitting here is a wonderful moment for me. Nieves, I remember the first day we met back in May 2014. Mm-hmm. You came off a down year and you were trying to rebound things, but it was like the business was bigger and then it had shrunk down a bit, and now you're trying to rebound. And I think you were just under the revenue mark for the 100K challenge for any ideas. And David Bronner brought you in, and we sat down, and it's not that you hadn't had it figured out yet, but the way you have command of what you're doing now, even in this crisis, it's like a completely different person. And so it's amazing to see all the things how you've grown over that time. And also, I stayed at the Element Hotel this past weekend.
Oh, excellent.
So it's cool to walk in somewhere, you just, okay, it's a stairwell, it's a railing, but it's like, nah, that's my people there.
Right.
So that's super dope to see. All of you, in Fame, I want to come back to your self-care regimen because that's important. But everybody right now is like, you got your existing clients you're trying to deal with, right? But how do you think through how to, on the business side, prospect and pivot in this climate? Because now you still gotta, you've got your existing client base, but if a year from now you haven't landed any new deals, what happens? So I know, Nieves, we've had conversations about some of the retail stuff that you're looking to do. And then I'll kind of, pop in with the other folks too. But, Nieves, what are you thinking about right now in terms of what's next and even what opportunities may be coming because of COVID?
Right. So one of the things that I've been wanting to do for a couple of years is do an online retail store. And so I just want to put it out there that through this experience that I've had with In Good Company, I've met people that are very inspiring. And Fame, you've been one of the people that has been really inspiring, even though we've only had a few interactions. It's just crazy to see how big effects some people's comments, even as small of a comment as they might seem at the time, can have an impact on. I remember we were sharing, we were sitting at the studio when we did the interview, Fame and I, and he was explaining to me how he does his online sales, and he makes it seem like, it was just seemed like a very simple thing to do, to set up. Obviously, it takes time to do that, right? But when you have real conversations with other entrepreneurs who have done things that you are inspiring to do, and you see that they've done it, that there's a way to do it, you just have to take that leap of faith. I think that builds up your your courage to do the same thing, right? And so at this year, like I said, 2020 was supposed to be a big year. We were going to start really strong with our online sales, but that had to kind of take a back burner because we were trying to figure out how we were going to stay in business and keep our factory open during the whole COVID crisis and shutdown, right? So for a couple months, we were trying to figure things out, and now we're kind of back at it again, where I've hired a marketing person, and I've hired a design person, and we were running some product testing and product design at the moment. And so, you know, I'm just very excited to be able to bring a new product line. We do beautiful work, we do high quality work, and we do it with a lot of pride in Southwest Detroit. And we want to be able to share all that with not just Detroit or Michigan, but with the rest of the world. And so we're creating, I'm calling it the Diseños living metal art. Basically, we're incorporating textures, we're incorporating plants, wood, metal, into art that you could have in your home office or at home. And so I love plants. All of you have been to my office, know that there's like plants everywhere to greet you when you first walk in. So I want to incorporate that green aspect and that air purifying aspect into our design as well. So, I mean, that's something that I think I've had a chance through COVID to kind of take a step back from my business and say, you know what, this is something we've been talking about for a long time. And now that everybody's working from home, or, you know, this whole office situation has changed. So we want to bring something that we could share with them, and from our shop, Detroit made, to the rest of the world, like I said. So
that's really interesting you say that, because I thought about you during this time, because we're all spending so much time in our homes, right? Mm-hmm. And so right. Everyone's cleaning up their yards. Everyone's like redesigning, taking that old room and turning it into an office. Like right. People's home improvement projects are probably, you know, through the roof. So hopefully that translates right. to some
exactly
in the future.
Not mine. I haven't done a thing at all. I need to cut the grass. I love that it was some talk, and then somebody was inspired by other entrepreneurs as part of this In Good Company campaign. And then we talk about like the even the businesses outside of In Good Company. James likes to use ecosystem a lot. So the the ecosystem outside of just the entrepreneurs is part of In Good Company. And I've been talking to a lot of different people. Some of the tenets of our campaign, like you're not alone, it takes the whole village. And in what ways have you seen Detroit businesses band together during this time? And that could be the businesses or the support systems for the businesses. Is there any stories there that you can share, and maybe that'll inspire somebody else who may not have seen these opportunities for these supports, or also business collaborations that they weren't thinking of? Any stories to share there? And I'll just leave that open to whoever may jump in.
I got one. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we all here.
Okay, so the city of Detroit, in response to COVID, started Detroit Means Business, and Detroit Means Business is a business resource service where you can go online and looking to get in PPE from the city, looking to get one-on-one business consulting from some industry leaders. And I thought that was very interesting. What made it, what made it more real to me is when I was tapped to be a part of the strategic design of it all, right? And how when they decided to bring small businesses to the table to actually decide what this will look like, right? I think that was super dope. So that's definitely something that has come out of it. that is a big deal. You know, I think whenever the city is getting behind supporting small businesses in a real way, that can definitely have an impact on community.
And that's been something nationally, seeing a push for small businesses. And small businesses of all type getting support and being heard. Any other stories there? No. We had a question. Do we have any questions in the
Oh,
the queue?
yeah. Somebody asked how they can find you, name of your business, if you have a website. I went ahead and posted 313 and Diseños. Nyasia, I don't know if you have a website or a way to for folks to reach out to you. Then we can go ahead and add it to the chat.
So, Nyasia, while we're doing that, I want to talk to you a little bit. So, I hate to use the term irony, but in a tragic twist of irony, when mothers need you the most right now, you're not able to be by their side. And that's, I know, just as a person, that's got to be frustrating. I remember, I have a story for everybody here, but when we met back at the Prosper Us meeting back in East Warren back in 2015, and you were just trying to get this going, and trying to scale it and get folks to really understand that this was a need, and you were really ahead of your time, where a lot of the national movement hadn't caught on yet. And so I'm still really, I want to advocate in the way I can to see you get, your proper place, in the industry you're trying to push. And then now as it pivots, and though you mentioned, it's not ideal to do lactation consultations via Zoom. But when you look now, and the reality is in-person contacts may not be the same for a while, have you thought about how this business pivots and how you make some of that, how you provide some of that value or communicate some of that value to mothers, or also to hospitals or even health insurers, now that you do have this new reality that can be more challenging for the mothers?
That's a lot. Okay. Well, I guess the way I'm pivoting is now I'm training new doulas. I'm doing a lot of mentorship. So the focus is kind of went that way. COVID restricted a lot of women and made women uncomfortable, so they automatically went to the home birth side. So that was kind of a plus during COVID. And so these mothers I'm still able to have my normal contact with. We're just wearing PPE at their visits. More women are interested and they want to know what they want support. Once the hospitals start restricting like their partners who could come to their prenatal visits, it just wasn't ideal. It was very restricted. Women were forced to get COVID testing that made them uncomfortable. So it made them start wanting to know more about their rights, made them start questioning policy versus law in reality. So it's kind of been positives with COVID. God, you asked so much, but
one of the things too, when you said you're training other doulas, ever since I had a conversation with you, it's been like, I think I've referred you to two people, two different people who, and they've brought up, it's not something that I talked about. They just brought it up on, somebody said something on Twitter the other day. And I said, I talked to, I interviewed the doula, and you can listen for that episode of In Good Company. So this is something that is, I mean, from my personal standpoint, from two people reaching out to me, that people are gaining interest in. I'm sure you're probably seeing a lot more interest as well. And that's awesome that you're training. Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah. You had something, James? Somebody asked a question.
Yeah, Philip has an interesting question. I want to get to that in a second, but Nyasia, so do you see yourself now maybe advocating for or helping folks understand how home birthing may be an option, or maybe kind of promoting that as something that you can help more mothers facilitate as they look at options over the next couple of years?
Absolutely. And that's exciting. Absolutely. I'm starting to advocate and promote it more. My website is going to launch, I think, the first week of July, and it'll be just more promoting and teaching. It's definitely growing. They're doing like doula trainings online, so women who couldn't travel to to different parts of the United States are now being able to take trainings online. There's organizations paying for women to become doulas. So just connecting the women to that feel inspired or sparked or called to birth work, as we say, is awesome. So I'm just
good to hear. We look forward to continuing to tell that story. Fame, I want to plug in with you real quick and have you take a stab at Philip Holmes in our group chat asked a question. And I know each of you has had your own journey to entrepreneurship, and maybe you can talk about that as each of you approach the question. But he says, what kind of person makes a successful entrepreneur? So, Fame, I'll mute myself and let you take first stab at it, and then Nieves will go to you, and then Nyasia will come back to you.
What up, though, Philip? What up, though? What type of person makes a successful entrepreneur? That's kind of a vague, it was kind of a broad question. One thing that I've learned is that it's a big difference between being self-employed and being an entrepreneur. Typically, in our community, we associate self-employed with entrepreneur. And I was fortunate enough to be involved with Goldman & Sachs 10,000 Small Business, the first cohort in Detroit back in 2012, I believe. And I learned very, very quickly that I wasn't a small business. And so I wasn't an entrepreneur. I mean, I was self-employed rather. And I wasn't even a small business. When you think about small business and how it's quantified, I think it's 8 employees or something to that effect, and it's $400,000 a year. So most people don't even have a small business that think they have a small business. What makes a successful entrepreneur? I think one of the qualities that I've realized that most of my friends that are entrepreneurs have is this willingness to do whatever it takes to meet their objective, right? And sometimes this, it can work against us, like stand up for days and days at a time. But I think to be an entrepreneur, you have to have the willingness to do whatever it takes, like, even if that means sacrificing your comfortability for the mission.
I have to agree with you on that one, Fame. So my take on this one would be that when you are an entrepreneur, you have this vision, this dream, right, to offer a service or a product to the rest of the world. And I think that some people think it's really easy, or they have like this picture of, you're your own boss. It must be badass to be able to make your own hours, right? But it's not really like that. I think that if you're ready to come in and kind of take all the punches that are thrown at you, and you're willing to get up every single time, you have that resilience to keep going, even when the rest of the world's telling you you're crazy and that, you know, it doesn't make sense. But if in your mind and in your heart, you know that you have something going on, that you should stick with it. I think eventually you start to see the fruits of your labor and your vision. And then once, you know, you're very goal driven. And I think that's very important, because once you see one thing happen and you look back and you don't remember all the bad stuff, you're just focused on you're celebrating what you were able to accomplish, right? So you keep going at it, and then you set another goal and you keep going. And before you know it, you know, you look back and you're like, wow, I did X, Y, Z. And you don't even think about all the craziness and tears and blood, literally, sometimes you have to bear to get there. So, I mean, I don't know. I think entrepreneurs are a little crazy sometimes. We just have a special kind of person. You have to be willing to put up with certain things that I think a lot of people, that's why a lot of businesses fail. I think they just, I don't know, maybe they didn't have the resilience, or the vision wasn't clear enough. But I think if you have a vision and you have a good why you're doing it, one way or another, you'll get there. That's my take. So.
Very good. Yeah, that's definitely an excellent point. Drive, not let anything get in your way, and have a vision. I mean, that sums it up right there. What about you, Nyasia?
Failure just isn't an option. You gotta want it. You gotta want it. You gotta need it like you need air. Like, I don't know, if it's your passion and it's what you feel called to do, then it doesn't feel like work. And so you're just giving your gift to the world consistently, focused, driven.
Nyasia, I think you bring up an excellent point there. I'm gonna say one thing and then kind of hand it back over to Shannon after you all respond. In all the conversations I've had with all three of you, it was never about money. None of you have ever said, I want to be a millionaire, or I want to do this, or I want to have that. You know, fame. You talked early on about some of your conversations with your mentor and understanding how you could and couldn't get rich. You know, Nieves, when we talked about your family legacy and all the different things, when you felt this opportunity, but also this pressure, like, I can't let this business fail. I can't let these people not have work. I can't let Southwest Detroit down. Nyasia, when we talk about, you know, you growing up with your grandmother and in the South and being trained in this, and the things that we all know about the realities of challenges of Black women and hospital care and some of the things that go on, each of you has something that, though you know you got to pay the bills, you got to cash flow, you got to support yourself, you're driven by something that's way beyond money and lifestyle. So can you guys speak to that a little bit? And that's going to be I'm stepping out. Back over.
Well, I say this. I say, and you can speak to that in this last statement, because we only got a few minutes here. It's been a pleasure working with each of you. One of the tenets of the In Good Company campaign is to inspire. That's the whole. We're inspiring people, and we're giving them information in our also on the website through resources. I've been inspired listening to the stories. And if I don't become a millionaire, Jay said, you know, with my storytelling business, I'm telling you, I learned a lot through all these conversations I'm having with all entrepreneurs. What's some encouragement that you can leave with people as we reopen, like dealing with this specific circumstance? What's some encouragement, like adding what James asked as well, what's some encouragement that you can leave with everybody during this time as we reopen?
Okay.
Let's start with Nieves. Yeah.
Okay. So, words of encouragement. I would say that, you know, this too will pass. We will get through it one way. And I would just really encourage people into resources that are available. That's one thing that I feel very proud of right now, seeing all the support that the city and the state has given to small businesses. And I think the economy relies heavily on small business, and this is our time to really empower other small businesses and really shine and stick with it. Don't give up. As far as James' question, you know, I don't know. I think for me, I am not driven by money. I'm not driven by, you know, becoming a millionaire one day. All I want to do is keep the legacy going for our family, and I'd like to see my son take over the business, or my daughter one day. And I love being able to employ people from Detroit and metro area, and giving them an opportunity to grow within the company as well. So, I mean, those are the types of things that drive me every day. You know, as a mom, it's always a balance between trying to care for the kids and work and all that good stuff. But, you know, as a working mom, it's not just me dealing with that kind of thing. So I think that's what it is that drives me.
How about you, Fane?
So money is definitely a motivator, but I learned very early that it's not about the money, it's about what you're doing for it. I learned that money was a consequence of what you're doing. And so for me, I've always been more intrigued about setting up a system that can always generate money versus getting some money. And it's interesting in the sense of, you know, generational wealth is something that in our community is non-existent pretty much. And so for me, the idea of setting up a system that my children can actually benefit from, grow into, a leverage, that is more exciting to me than any amount of money that I could actually make and enjoy myself. So since forever, when I get some money, I put it back into the system that got me the money in the first place. And that's more exciting to me than actually having it. And it's really what's necessary. You know, you have to invest in yourself, right? So it's necessary that you invest more than you make into what that system is. Like, I always flash back to this, and I'm gonna try to sum it up right here. There was a group of men who sat down and decided what money was. They literally sat down, they had a meeting, and they said, okay, we're gonna decide what currency is. It's gonna be this, it's gonna be that. We're gonna value it like this. And they put together a system. And I like to think of myself as one of those men versus consumer in a sense. I like to think of myself as a mind that can develop a system or process based on processes that can always generate something. And to go to what you said, Shannon, like nightmares are dreams too. That's why I put up my little virtual background. Nightmares are dreams too. You know, there's value in the struggle. There's value in the struggle. And I read a meme one time, and it talks about how, you know, when they were burying me, they didn't know that I was a seed when they were trying to bury me. They didn't know that I was a seed. And I think that's how we should all think about the struggle that we go through. It's really, you know, as cliche as it sounds, it's preparing us for greater. It's preparing us to be able to navigate the change that will be necessary for the uncertainty that we can predict. So nightmares are dreams too. There's value in the struggle, and money is just a consequence of what you do.
Are you going to make a shirt now? That's on my next shopping list right there. about you, Nyasia? What, any final thoughts for this evening? And thank you guys so much for making the time for us. This was a really excellent discussion.
Thank you for having me. I'm driven by the fact that Black and brown women are still dying at 4 times the rate of other nationalities. And working in a hospital, I see this on a regular basis. And so that's what drives me in reducing the rates. In every aspect of womb health, we suffer. Our babies are suffering in the NICU. Women are having Child Protective Service called on them for choosing not to supplement their breast milk. So being a catalyst for change for women in Detroit and in the world, that's what drives me. Yeah, and I guess I would say be encouraged, but be smart. Although we are opening up, you are going to see the cases rise. People are dying from this. This is not a old person disease. There are women who are 28 years old with no health issues that are being put on event. Know that the healthcare system in the United States is not prepared for this. Build your immune system. Use this downtime to grow vegetables, learn about herbs, support your immune system. And I would not be one of the first participants in taking the vaccine when they come forth with that.
Well, those are
very honest, sobering, and real encouragement there from the front line.
Right.
So we
front
appreciate that very much so. Thank you to all of our entrepreneurs today, Nyasia Bay, Nieves Longordo, Clement Fame Brown. We appreciate you. Thank you to Serena and James for being a part of this as well. And everybody who's put on this Detroit Startup Week. I've been at every session I can possibly be at because I've been learning so much. I would consider myself a new entrepreneur, so this has been a wonderful experience. Also, In Good Company Detroit, I know we got it. We have a new podcast, a new film, and a new article that's out. You can go to ingoodcodetroit.com. We cover Mamba and Nadia of Bible Fair that's coming out pretty soon. That restaurant's gonna be the restaurant was starved because of all this that's happening. So when they open, it's gonna be delicious. I already know it. So you can taste it right now at ingoodcodetroit.com. Abraham, any last words for us?
Actually, let me pop in here before Abraham does, and just do one little bit of housekeeping. Make sure you go to In Good Code Detroit, because not only can you see these stories and more, the other part of In Good Code, there's the inspiration, there's also the information. So once you see these stories and you get inspired, click on that resources button. There's over 300 support organizations as part of our ecosystem that support entrepreneurship in Southeast Michigan. You can see in folks' stories when they talk about who helped them, or some of the different ways that you might need help to launch your business or to grow your business. So that is there too. The link is there. I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to the New Economy Initiative for bringing us all together to do In Good Code Detroit, and for Knight Foundation for granting us the funds to execute it. It's come to life in this panel. It's come to life in these stories on this website, and in the work that's going to be done. Nieves, I can't wait to see where you are at a year from now in your space with your retail location. Fame, I've been telling everybody about the spaces that we're going to walk into and feel your imprint. And Nyasia, I just gave birth to our third child, and I had to. Well, I didn't give birth, but but the truth you speak is very real, and I was probably more bold and vocal during this childbirth because of some of the conversations we had about advocating. And so the work you do is real, the mission. I appreciate you, I honor you, and I pray for you as you continue to fight this fight on the front lines for us every day.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been inspired this evening by everybody, so thank you. God bless everybody.
Thank you so much. I hope everyone has had a successful time at the summit, and thank you so much for participating. We really appreciate it.